Hello and welcome back. So in the middle of winter still, but that's not a problem because we do have some other things to do while we're waiting. Specifically now I'm looking at the research. So we just got the leather buckets, which gives us an additional slot for clean drinking water. That means they won't get ill. And then I'm just looking at the research as it stands, mainly just to make sure that I am actually getting what I want out of these very early stages. I've just done the old toolkit, which unlocks the engineers to fix your buildings for you, because you can't fix them yourself, it has to be done. And then you can see there I'm doing a bit of storage and ending with the hospitals. So coming into it, it's pretty much as he left it, nothing's really changed, so I am going to jump forward in a second. But effectively what we've got here is 2 water reservoirs that are storing our water, and we've got 2 fishermen fishing when the winter ends. But for now, you can see in the bottom left hand corner we've got 19 food, which is mostly berries. So let's move through to when it warms up a little bit, and it's a bit easier on the eyes as well. So here we go. The snow is cleared, the ice is cleared, and the fishermen for the first time are making their way out. And I say fishermen is the other one on the right. You can see them there glowing in the background. So they're making their way over, and again, you can overfish. So it's always a good idea not to just chuck 50 fishermen. Well, I don't suppose you'd fit it, but nevertheless, you can still do it. And just to make sure that there is no lack of fish to live off. So they'll just continue to fish now as soon as while the water is available, and it's all automatic. And then eventually we'll be able to get a restaurant, or an eatery as it's called, which will allow us to cook the fish and be a better food to use. And here we are. So this is the building I haven't built yet. I don't know, actually, I must have learnt it and researched it and not noticed, because I should have done it by now. But this is the eatery. So this is where the people come to eat. Obviously everything as this game goes, it starts off small and builds itself. Now there is a lot of this happening the way I like to play, especially at the beginning. So I'm using my telekinesis power, which is 5 points a pop, and just picking up the trees, chucking the trees in to give them enough. And then I'll pick up the stones. As you can see, the stones there as well. Now you can see the rain over there. So if you look at that number, it is going up. That is the total amount of water in that area. And you can see it's climbing. That's because it's raining into there. So as I said previously, the rain into these areas is important. And it is quite well done actually for the game. Really clever. So yeah, get the eatery built, and then we'll have somebody working in there. Again, it's a start, so it's only one person to start with. But they cook raw food, fish, fruits, etc. into a cooked food. It doesn't really stipulate what it is, I don't think that I remember. But it's certainly a better food for the nuggets to eat anyway. And then it builds up as you go. So you just need to keep an eye out for the space as well, because I think you can only have 2 or 4 nuggets to eat at a time. And obviously you've got a lot more than that. So you just need to make sure that you don't run out of space. You can see over the heads of all of these buildings, the little crumbling houses. That means that the buildings are about to fall down, which significantly I need engineers for. And then in the bottom left hand corner you can see the thing that's nearly researched is in fact the engineer huts. So as soon as that one finishes, we'll immediately get some of them down, and each hut has a radius. So as long as you cover your entire building area with the radius, somebody will do it. So straight away you can see it's unlocked the engineer's hut. The giant green circle is the area that they can work in. So I'll put one right next to the water fountains, or the water reservoirs, and then one perpendicular really, but of the other side. So you can see there I'm covering a large area, but predominantly all of the buildings I own. And that will keep these buildings repaired and standing instead of falling down, which is good.
And a curse.
So moving on, we've got the storage areas unlocked now, and again this is a good thing to get the extra resources, because the nuggets do continue to farm constantly, whether it be stone or mainly wood for the fires and stuff. But it's always a good idea to have these spread around as a backup, so that they're not having to mine or chop wood on demand. You've got a backlog of that. So Again, these need to be spread around nicely, so I am going to chuck down 2. Again, similar to the engineering buildings, just spread them out across the town, village. It's not a city, that's for sure. Just so that we've got some sort of spaced out resources, and it gives them somewhere to take the goods as well, instead of just
dental, right?
being left on the floor, which is what they would do otherwise.
That message looked important.
So I've got a quest here to help the Nugget build their house. This is just really a tutorial to show you that you can do it, which I've already showed you anyway. So if it needs wood, you can pick up the trees and put them on it as a resource. If it needs stone, you can do the same. And then putting all of the resources into it, and as you can see, it's showing the totals that's required. All it means then is that the Nuggets just have to do the building, which is nice and easy. So I think that's the last stone that's required there. Yeah, and immediately the quest is complete and the resources are delivered. Now that Nugget can build their house without having to do any foraging, farming, chopping, pickaxing, or whatever else is needed.
No. Oh dear.
So this is like
my.
one of the first quests you seem to always get. It's a bit of a pain, but one of the children's got lost again. They always get lost seemingly, and they're going to be eaten by 3 wolves, as the picture depicts. A baby going to be eaten by 3 wolves. Brutal.
Unfortunate.
If you don't find them within the time limit,
to
as you can see at the top, it is 10 minutes
Hold on.
total.
Never mind. Wrong envelope. You have
So you can ignore the guy in the background. He's being a bit sarcastic, but we don't care about that. So all I'm doing now is looking for a child surrounded by wolves. I've done this a couple of times, so that's how I know that. A little tip for you: when you get near it, you usually hear the noise of wolves. So it's best just to try and look down and just scan around the borders of your village. It's not usually that far away, but it's still a bit of a pain sometimes to find it. But again, the first thing is to do it, look down and move around circular from your village and listen for a wolf noise, which you can hear there. Mild, but you can hear it. So I'm just taking a double take here. And the idea is you just got to find the child, pick him up with a telekinesis power, and bring him back to the village where he's safe, back to his parents. So you keep going and keep looking until you find him. And there he is. After I just spotted that turtle, got distracted. But yeah, there you can see the 3 wolves.
Please get that nugget
You pick
a
him
fresh
up.
pair of underwear.
And obviously, as the bloke says, he needs a fresh pair of underwear, because I bet that was a bit scary. And you just take him back to the town centre. Being careful not to drop him, and this is something that you need to be careful with when playing this game. I often drop them from too high, and they go splat.
Let's hope it survives long enough.
That's unlocked a Cupid Park, which is a recreational building, which is a mood gaining building, and it also helps with the safety of the town. But of course, you need bricks to build it, and we aren't quite there yet. So next on the list to keep our duplicates healthy and safe is of course a hospital. So we have learnt that from the researching, so I'm just going to shove that where I can fit it. Again, I am planning all of this around the roads to the best of my ability, because later on the roads become important. Remember that this game does go through all of the ages. You do get vehicles and cars. They do drive on the roads. So it's always a good idea to try and, or at least I do anyway, try and build around them. And then once again, to help out the hospital, I'm picking up and using some of my God power. I've got 62 at the minute. It only takes 5 to use the telekinesis power. That's whether it be 1 tree or whether it be 1 rock. And it's creator points, not God power, but it's the same thing. And the hospital's complete.
There's been another injury,
Wonderful.
Creator. I wonder what it is.
So
this
immediately
time.
get somebody on that. And as soon as you apply the person into there, they'll start making the medicines, which of course then means that everybody else is a little bit safer. Somebody's injured there. I'll use my rejuvenate power to fix that.
Of your subject.
You can do that for everybody, but it takes 10 and that's quite expensive. The research now completed. Ancient burial means we can now build a graveyard as well. And the graveyard allows you to do two things. The first one being bury people, obviously, and the second being to cremate them. But I turn off cremate because it uses a lot of wood, obviously, and at the minute we don't have enough. So I just let them bury them because there is quite a lot of space in there, to be fair. And as you can see, that is Pebbles, which is now the new leader of Earth 3.0, and that's the one that we went for, which is the medical aid, which means that we're now got a huge reduction in making medicines, and our leader is a doctor, which is also handy. Okay, so winter's over, and here we are again. Agriculture has now been learnt, so that means we can build some farms, which is much more self-sustaining than just picking berries. Obviously, this will all go with the fishing, which we can only do fishing in winter. Sorry, in not winter, but that's the same with the farms as well. So it gives us So looking for a space now to plant some farms. It is telling you the area you're putting it in, so there are different biomes in the game. As you can see, forest is there. I want grassland really, so I will move it. And then each of the crops only grow in their specific type. So you can see a crop actually next to it, the red berries that you can see. I can't remember what they're called, but the
I see you are finally taking interest in your
like
civilization's
that, but we'll see in a
need
bit.
to eat. Guess
Yeah,
it's
but I do
time
want
to take
two.
Starving to
Again,
death
I always
off
start
the
with two
list
of everything, it
anticipated
seems,
disasters.
is the plan. But
For
yeah,
now.
I do. There we are, chucking down the next one. So just get them built, and again, I jump on the bandwagon here by using my telekinesis power to apply the stone and wood that they need to move it forward and on a bit quicker. Nothing else I gain from it really, other than I can pick up the resources a lot faster than they can. But all of that stone needs to be cleared out anyway, and I can't afford to use my creative powers for that because I wouldn't have enough, because that's a lot of stone. So they're going to have to do it. And there we go. The first one is complete. So that's the first farm, obviously completed before the other one, because they're still chipping away at that stone, like I said they would be.
Your balance has hit 0.
So I don't actually
Please
have
top up
enough
before
powers
attempting to
because
use any
the
further
crops
powers.
around, you'll find you can dump them in to learn them. Now, as you can see, this Mambro fruit is that red fruit that we can see there. So we can already do that. So that farm is immediately going to get turned on to grow that. And the farmer will make his way over now to start planting. This farm needs a little bit more time because, again, all of this stone needs to be removed. And I can't help them because I don't have enough creative powers anyway. So we'll just have to leave them to it and hope it don't take too long.
Ding ding, another message coming through.
So we've got a quest, food discovery, and this is what I was saying basically. It is the ability to learn and grow new crops, and all you have to do is find them in the world, pick them up with your power, and put them in any of your farms, and you can then use that to grow it. So as you can see, there's a crystalline club apple, so I'll pick it up and chuck it in a farm that's built, and now we can grow that in that farm. Remember though, it's got to be the same area, so you can't grow grassland plants in the desert, for example, and vice versa. So that's both the farms built. We've got mango fruit on one and the crab apples on the other. So we'll leave the farmers to do their work there. And again, they'll shut down for winter, the same as the fishermen, but we'll come back in spring as normal. I think coming up now is another event for the game, and it's kind of a black market type thing. Just going to build the radio tower. Now the radio tower does a couple of things. It does weather forecasts, and it does the alarm for when you want to make an emergency. So yeah, you can see this UFO coming in, spaceship. That will crash land in my forest. Lovely, wasted a few trees, but never mind. Luckily it didn't damage any buildings, but I don't think it does anyway. And that's now going to auto build, and that auto builds into the black market, which is basically you're interacting with aliens. You give them something, usually it's people, so you give them 2 people and they'll give you a resource, or you give them 5 people and they'll give you an even better resource. Don't think I've used it that much though, to be honest, because normally it's not the resources I actually need that they're offering, because it's random and it changes, I believe, daily. But I could be mistaken. Here I heard a random noise, and I'm not entirely sure what this is or who this is.
You've got mail, creator.
It's a guy. No, that's not him. That was somebody that was dead, and I've picked them up and put them in the... Yeah, that's fine. That's somebody I've just picked up and put them in the...
Ooh, what's
the
that
burial.
Smell, creator?
That way it saves the person having to do it. Somebody does work there, and they run around the map with a little wheelbarrow and pick up the dead and take them and bury them. But
that's something odorous behind.
Okay, so this is the guy I was on about. You can see down in the left there's some red thing, and I've never seen that before. So upon zooming on it, that's clearly a guy swearing at us, right? That's what that means. He's not, but he is. And then clicking on it, he is neutral, but for some reason he seems to be hitting my grave site. So he's knocking the building down. You can see an engineer comes along, look, and fixes it. And then the engineer's fixed it, walks off, and then he keeps poking it. I don't know why. I don't understand. I've never seen that before, so it's probably a new mechanic. But the way to fix this problem is... You're about to see... After I get over the fact that I'm still not sure what's happening, I just pick him up, and then I fly to the other side of the world, just like that, and I put him down on the floor. And now he's on the other side of the world, and not my problem. Meanwhile, you'll see that you've got these little meteorites that have crashed down. Don't worry about the squares, fancy things, they're late game. These meteorites you can get at any point. You have to click on them, I think, 3 or 4 times to break them, and then you get this magic box.
Stress. They've started to go
You take the magic box back to your town centre, and it will be researched. And inside you get gifts, and they can be good, they can be bad, they can be medium. You can get duplicates from it, you can get plagues, etc. But on that note, I actually remembered that fact because I'd forgot to this point. So I go on a bit of a hunting spree. To see how many I can find. It's quite easy to spot them, not so much when it's dusk or night time though, but in the day it's pretty easy to spot them, and you just break them open and carry them back and let your nuggets research them. So there's number 2. So here I go again for another look, see what I can find. And I do end up getting 3, I believe, in total. But very shortly we're about to see another part. This is just researching. I say it's unobtainium. It is actually obtainable, but as you can see by that, it shoots right over to the modern space age. And that's where we have to get to before that part is relevant. So I'll be moving on and ignoring that from now on. As we scroll around the world, though, I do bump into another civilization. Now, this civilization seemingly seems to be where that guy that was swearing at us came from, by the name and the symbol of it. Now, it's protected by that shield, so you can't actually attack them with god powers. You can attack them with military, but we're nowhere near that. They're neutral and we can trade, but at the minute I don't need anything, so there was nothing to trade. So I checked it out, but moved on. And we'll go back there and do some trading when I actually need some resources. So there we go, we've got another leader.
Never felt so
and this
good.
One
oh,
is...
never will they again.
Was it called elderly?
Hope that your civilization
Basically, it means that the elderly
can
still have babies. The only problem is, while they're making babies, there's a 50% chance of them dying. But in game mechanics, all that means is I get more people, right? I get more nuggets because the older ones can still breed. So we get more nuggets and therefore more jobs done and more things completed. Here is my wood refinery and my stone refinery. So the wood refinery turns wood to planks and the stone refinery turns stone to bricks. Yes, bricks, not chopped stone or polished stone. They actually make bricks directly from rock somehow. And then all I'm going to do here is chuck in another storage, and this is specifically for the bricks and the planks, just so that I've got a nice backup of them, because you need them a lot. And very shortly you will start to see that we're upgrading buildings, and the things that you need to upgrade the buildings are planks and bricks. Yeah, I'm going to come down to the end of this episode shortly, but before we do, here are the boxes that I collected. So as I said, there was 3. You can see that we've researched some of them. They mostly look green, but I get a bit excited and open them all anyway. And as you can see, that racket that you can hear is the nuggets catching the plague. So I gave everybody the plague, and then at the very end, I decided to blow up a building as well. In future, I won't do that. I would suggest you don't too, but it's done now. So with the points I've got, the creator points that I've got, I'm going to quickly go around and heal them shortly. But you can see there, I just checked that there are upgrades available, and you could tell that by the cog and the up arrow that is above the building. But it needs bricks and planks, and I don't have any as yet. So, moving on, really, this is going to be the end here. We're on day sort of 59. So we've done a couple of seasons, which is good. We have made some decent progress. And I want to try and keep these to as short as possible, where possible. Of course, shorter is an option and longer is an option if you tell me so. So on that note, thank you very much for watching the video. If you like it, please click like. Any comments are welcome. Please subscribe to see more content. Thank you very much. Take care. Goodbye.